we're going to go into closed session for about 15 more minutes, and then we will see you all here at 6 o'clock.
Apparently the microphone's not working.
All right, good evening, everyone. It is wonderful to see you all here. I will call to order the open session for our board meeting on Tuesday, April 14, 2026 at 6:12 p.m. And tonight, to get us started, we have Kate Cho, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So Kate, come on up. Oh, you are? Thank you for joining us, and we'll stand and join her.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for participating, and thank you, Kate. I have a report from our closed session. The board took action on a vote of 5-0 to approve a settlement agreement with student number 674947 and cases number 202-509-0680 and case 202-506-0579, not to exceed the amount of $53,400 during closed session today. So we are so excited to have everyone here. We are going to be starting with some recognitions of our amazing students. Starting on my list, I've got Amy Sotolongos kicking it off with our Student Advisory Committee. Our middle schoolers will join us. Thank you, Amy.
All right, could I please have all of our Student Advisory Committee kiddos up? Come on behind me. All right. Good evening, President Hanchett, Board of Trustees, Dr. Hammett, Executive Cabinet, and guests. I'm Amy Sotolongo, the PBIS TOSA for our school district, and it's my privilege to present with our Superintendent Student Advisory Committee tonight. The committee was established in the spring of 2023 with the goal of bringing together students from our 3 comprehensive junior highs and our 2 TK8 schools to provide student voice and input on district initiatives, as well as to engage in meaningful community projects. The committee includes our superintendent, district staff, and student representatives in grades 7 and 8 and meets 3 times each year. This year, our students focused on identifying their strengths to plan and complete a school-wide community-based project. They also contributed valuable input during the superintendent search process and shared their perspectives on the role of AI in education. Tonight, you will hear from student representatives from each school as they present their completed projects. We're incredibly proud of their hard work and honored to recognize them this evening. At the conclusion of the presentation, we invite the board and students to join us for a group photo, and students are also invited to take a celebratory cupcake as they exit. Without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce the Superintendent Student Advisory Committee, beginning with Beechwood.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Owen de Monteverde, and these are my counterparts Jackson, Ocello, and Cape Manville, and we are Beechwood's representatives. So our initial project idea was to go to Morningside, which is a local elderly person's home by our school, and we always see that part of the facility, so we thought that was the best place to go. But we didn't know that Park Vista was there until a representative of Morningside told us that Park Vista would be better for what we were planning to do. Our plan was to make hearts for the elderly people and get candy for them and make goodie bags. So we ended up buying Hershey's Nuggets, Hershey's Kisses, and heart bags.
When building the bags, we had the elementary students write nice notes on the hearts, then added candies and hearts into the bags. We ended up walking to the facility and handing out the bags to all the rooms, and we handed the residents candy hand by hand.
This is us arriving at the facility. We also made them a banner saying that we love them because we want to continue this relationship with them. This is us handing the goodie bags to the resident because we were really grateful because we were able to go into their rooms and give it to them. These are more photos of us going into the rooms. And then that was the memory care unit where most of them didn't have relatives, which after this project, it brought us to realize that our little project helped bring them joy, which they really appreciated it. And it just shows us that a little thing goes a long way for everybody. So we hope to inspire others. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We are students from Robert C. Fisler School. I'm Faith Kwan.
And this is Bryce Lee.
Unfortunately, our other student named Lily Miyamoto couldn't be with us today, but we are very thankful that she was with us. Next plan. Here are some steps that we took to make this project a reality. Number 1, choose an event. The project that we chose to do was a sports festival. We wanted to do something that would inspire students to live active lives and help them gain an interest in sports. Number 2, plan it out. We worked with our principal, Dr. Llewellyn, and our ASB teacher, Miss Coda, to plan out an event that would better lives of students on our campus. Number 3, outside resources. We discussed the need of student volunteers and a few other people at the school. Number 4, visualize and access. Together, we mapped out the event and checked inventory.
Then we sent out a form asking for middle school volunteers that would help us for the event. We got over 40 submissions, but we only had to choose 6 volunteers. These volunteers helped us set up the event, watch over all the students, and give the students instructions on what to do at each activity. Those were the registration forms for the volunteers. These are some of the photos that we took during the sports festival. There were many good things that came out of our project. Students were inspired and wanted to continue playing sports and being active, which was our main overall goal from the very beginning. But our project didn't just impact the elementary students at our school, it also gave our students volunteers 7+ hours for NJHS, the National Junior Honor Society, and it was something that built new leaders and helped them gain responsibility. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily Nino Franco.
And I'm Aaron Yen. We are from Ladera Vista.
For our project, we went to Commonwealth Elementary School.
Our mission was to provide fun activities for the students and inform them about ASB at Ladera Vista.
We executed this project with assistance from our school's ASB team and had many games and prizes to bring to the elementary students. We were able to utilize many ASB games such as Plinko, Cornhole, bowling, and many more.
And not only did we bring games, but we also had a presentation for the 6th graders to encourage them to join ASB.
We also have a short video of what we did at Commonwealth. After all of this, we were able to accomplish both of our goals.
After all this, we were able to accomplish both of our goals successfully. We were able to provide fun activities for the students at Commonwealth and inform 6th graders about the fun activities at LV.
Many students came up to us saying that they were interested in joining leadership next year as a result of our fun-fulfilled day. And we're not stopping here. We are going to continue the elementary school outreach program, as we will also be doing this again at Acacia Elementary next month.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brian Garcia.
I'm Camila Briseno.
And I'm Kylie Varela, and we're from Nicholas Junior High School. For our project, we chose to prepare and deliver 4 Thanksgiving baskets to families in need at our school. The purpose of this project was to spread holiday cheer around those who thought they wouldn't be able to have a nice meal. We focused on collecting food and small essentials that could help families prepare a Thanksgiving meal for those who thought they wouldn't be able to have a nice meal for Thanksgiving. Speedy Draining Plumbing Company gave us turkeys and apple cider, which we were very thankful for because this helped us more than what we expected. We were able to give more than what we thought.
We started our project by setting up tables every day during lunch for 2 weeks to collect as many donations as possible for our food drive. As part of our project, we also did a friendly competition between our 4 houses in our school to involve our students and teachers in donating. When we got enough donations, we prepared the baskets to give them out to 4 families from our school.
The outcome of our project was getting the joy of knowing that we collected enough food for each basket and also collecting enough donations that all came from students, staff members, community members, and district members as well. We donated to 4 families from Nicholas Junior High School, and we were surprised from the amount of donations we collected and the amount of money we saved while we executed our project. Thank you.
My name is Owen Gabaney.
My name is Jackson Gebhardt. And we have another member, Yo-Yo Zhang, but she couldn't be here today. For our project, we chose to create a multicultural assembly. We worked hard to create an experience that brought in student interest and was student-led. For that, we collected data from peers to get a pulse of the different cultures students wanted to see, and they worked with different groups across campus to bring in student-led performances. We met during tutorial every week to finalize the details of the event, including agendas, scripts, and collaboration with various stakeholders.
We collaborated with band, choir, Korean Culture Club, and leadership, ASB, to bring in as many students into the assembly as possible. We also worked with our PTSA to bring in resources for snacks and added decorations. This inclusive approach fostered community at our school.
This photo here is a photo of our theatron. It has been decorated, and it is the orchestra and band that performed a Puerto Rican song that translate to the frog, Coqui, and a Singaporean piece that reflects harmonies and melodies from that region. Choir sang some songs from Mamma Mia, including Dancing Queen and Thank You for the Music from a Swedish group from ABBA. Korean Culture Club performed their dance routine that they presented at K-pop Battle of the Bands. Thank you so much.
All right, we're all going to come out and take a picture.
Okay, as some of our folks are leaving, we will welcome Phil Ling up to share with us about All the Arts Foundation. Yeah.
All right, yeah, you get. Just come this way a little bit. Do you ever? Are you doing arm length for the guitar? Yeah. Perfect. You can come a little bit more. A little more. Right there's good. Perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I think the temperature's dropped maybe 10 degrees in the last 30 seconds, so that's great. Super helpful. Uh, Good evening, President Hanchett, Board of Trustees, Dr. Hammond, Executive Cabinet, and all of the FSD community. Tonight we have lots to celebrate in the arts, and so I'm going to start with our Raymond guitar class. So Fullerton School District is proud to continue providing students with experiences that intersect cultural understanding and learning with music and arts. And one of the ways we're doing that is through mariachi music, as you can see here. We're happy to have a mariachi club and class at Nicholas Junior High and have begun to build after-school mariachi classes at Raymond and Pacific Drive, our two dual-language Spanish schools. Also, as you can tell here, Raymond, under the leadership of Mrs. Christina Centeno, where is Mrs. She's behind me. Oh, perfect. There we are. Thank you. Has helped foster this love for music with our younger musicians as well, too. So I'm going to have her share a little bit about what's happening at Raymond.
Thank you, Phil. Oh, yes, thank you. Good evening, President Hanchett, Board of Trustees, Dr. Hammett, Executive Cabinet, and FSD community. I'm nervous. I'm proud to introduce our Raymond first and second grade Intro to Mariachi group guitar, Raymond Estrellitas, under the direction of our famous Mr. Fuerte, with the support from Mr. Rudy right here. This group really represents the heart of Raymond, bringing together students from both our English only and our DLA, Dual Language Academy programs, living out our school's culture and vision. They may be little, but they've got a lot of heart. And as you can imagine, teaching first and second graders mariachi guitar takes a special kind of patience. So, a very big shout out to Mr. Fuerte and Mr. Rudy for all the support behind the scenes. We're excited to see these students continue to grow as the future of mariachi at Raymond. So please help me welcome them. Do you want to do it now or after? Okay, now? Okay, before we start though, we have very proud parents and we would like them to share with you their names. All right, so starting with?
My name is Aiden. My name is Michael. My name is Frankie. My name is Clementine. My name is Sebastian. My name is Jasmine. My name is Rio.
My name is Quentin. My name is Raiden.
My name is Lucia. My name is Ellie.
My name is Hasmin.
My name is Luna. My name is Mila. My name is Sebastian.
My name is Giovanni.
My name is Abraham.
My name is Levi. My name is Mateo.
And we're ready to hear them all sing. Thank you, Mariachi Estrellitas.
It's photo time, parents. Come on up. Board, do you want to join them?
We're going to go in a little bit more. Okay.
Can you sign a little bit more?
Impromptu name. I know, right?
One more hand for the Mariachi Estrellitas from Merriman School. You'll be seeing that all night, I think, right? Well, we're happy to continue in the arts tonight. We're fortunate tonight to have the members of the All the Arts for All the Kids Foundation here. And so we're pleased to have an ongoing partnership with the foundation, who has been a valuable thought partner as well as collaborator for many, many years. So I want to thank them for their donation of $13,000 this year to support our Family Arts Nights, where every elementary school has an evening arts experience for parents, students, and family members who attend every year. The idea is to provide families with a glimpse of the arts experiences their students receive during arts rotations and to instill synergy around shared creativity. So we're grateful tonight for Ms. Laurelyn Eschner, former FSD Arts Director and President of the Foundation. Ms. Paulette Chaffee, who is also a member of the board. Mrs. Kelly Whiteman, Executive Director. Mr. Kyle Stava, member of the board. Miss Lauren Moses Oldfield, Vice President of the All the Arts Foundation. And then over there on that side, Mrs. Sarah Cooper, board member and FSD teacher as well. And Miss Carrie Hollebeck, teacher at Fissler and also board member. Did I get everybody? Is that everyone? All right. So thank you very much, Foundation, for your donation. We'd love to have a picture up here with our board as well. Up by the flag right here would be wonderful. Thank you again to All the Arts Foundation for being here tonight. And they also have an art auction coming up on the 25th, I believe. Is that correct? And so they would love your support. Allthearts.org, I believe, is the website. They've got cards here. So April 25th, I believe at 5 o'clock p.m. Is that right? At the Fullerton? 6 to 9. Thank you. I've got it all wrong. Great. At the Fullerton Community Center. But we are not done with the arts. Every year, FSD hosts the Wonder of Water art competition, which was inspired by Dr. Pletka's love. Oh, we're going to let the mariachis first get their cupcakes really quick. Actually, that's important. Let's do that. All right. Maybe they went out that way. You want to go? You can go that way. My mom and my dad. They're probably in the hallway.
They disappeared.
It might be down. Follow Miss Santana right there. They might be, but Christina's right there. They want to know what flavor it is. So they want to know the flavors, yeah. Surprise! All right. So every year, FSD hosts the Wonder of Water art competition, inspired by Dr. Plutka's love for fishing and for the ocean. This opportunity is open to all students in FSD, and this year we had over 300 students submit artwork around two categories: the love of water and the nature of water. This program is supported by the Kids Fish On Foundation, supported by Dr. Pletka and Mr. Mike McAdam, who will be providing each of our winners with cash prizes. So that's exciting. So I want to recognize Mrs. Janice Lee for her contributions and coordination of the program. So thank you, Ms. Janice Lee. To make all the big and little things happen in the Wonder of Water competition go swimmingly for everyone. Thanks for that. Students, when you hear your name called, please come up to the front right over here. You're going to receive your certificate from me, and you're going to come up and stand in front of your art piece. If you wouldn't mind holding your art piece as well, that'd be great. And then wait for us to take a wonderful group picture. And then, yes, you will also get to figure out which cupcake flavor you'll get afterwards, too. Okay? So I'm going to pass it off to Ms. Janice to announce their names.
Thank you so much. I have the honor of recognizing our finalists for this year's Wonder of Water. So for the category of Nature of Water, our second place winner is Ellie Park from our junior high. Yeah. First place for junior high is Emily Wang. Moving on to Nature of Water Elementary, second place, Ella Prado. First place, Madeline Cho. Going on to our Love of Water category, we have our junior high second place winner, Jaden Bang. Junior high first place winner, Irene Park. Elementary second place winner, Jaden Jiang. Elementary first place winner, Ian Shin. And this year's grand prize winner will go to Kate Cho.
All right, students, let's leave your pieces here actually, because they'll be on display at FSD Fest this Saturday. So that's why you'll see these pieces next, Saturday, April 18th at FSD Fest. So students, leave your pieces right here against the wall, if you wouldn't mind, so we can display them on Saturday. And then you can come and get your cupcakes right over here. And everyone else, let's give one more hand for our Wonder of Water winners, please.
Okay. All right, folks, we are going to continue on with our meeting tonight. The next section is going to be reports from our various members of our community. So we'll start with our superintendent's report. And Dr. Chad Hammett, if you would share with us, please.
Absolutely. This is such an exciting time of the year because we have so many things to celebrate here in the Fullerton School District. As you've been able to see with our Superintendent Student Advisory Council, our art winners, our incredible guitar players. If any of you play guitar, to be able to put your hands around the neck of the guitar and make music like that, very hard to do. So very, very impressed with everything we've already seen tonight. But we're not stopping there. We have a school that has won the Green Ribbon Award. Maple Elementary School is being recognized by the U.S. Department of Education as a Green Ribbon Schools Award winner. It's a national honor given to a small number of schools each year. So out of 21 schools in the state of California, Maple is one of those. And it's its first year being recognized. So not only was it not just recognized for bronze, but they won silver status, which is the second status up, in their first year being honored. So really, we want to give them a round of applause and really honor them for that great award. Also, if any of you missed K-Pop Battle of the Bands on Wednesday, that was an amazing event. We had over 100 students that started out in the process, and then it worked its way down to 25 students. 5 students from each of our junior high schools and our K-8s that competed in the K-Pop Battle of the Bands. And not to give away a spoiler, but it's already all over social media, Nicholas Junior High School, grand champions. Absolutely an amazing event. I really want to thank Phil Ling and his entire arts team who put that event together. Amazing event. I'll dare say it was better than another show that's on TV that has the initials AI. So I'm just saying. All right, another great event we had this last week was at Ladera Vista Junior High School. They put on the play, The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson musical. Now, if you didn't see it, it was an incredible play. Better than what I've seen at a lot of high schools, I'll dare say. Live band. The stage was extended so that it came out into the audience. Incredible acting, singing, just an amazing amount of work. And the school staff, I want to thank Andrea Calvo and the entire LV team for really pulling the best out of our students at LV. Incredible event. If you missed it, don't miss the next LV live performance. Some of the best you're going to see. Also, this coming weekend, if you're free, if you're not, you should be. We have FSD Fest. It's Friday night where we have Spotlight Speaker Awards, or Spotlight speakers who will come out and do TED Talk type speeches on different areas and topics that interest them. And then Saturday, 8:30 a.m., Cal State Fullerton, don't miss it. It's amazing. We'll start out, we have esports, we have games from all over the world, we have coding, we have AI activities. It is nonstop all day long, being capped off by our student film festival at the end of the night. So this Saturday, 8:30 in the morning, Cal State Fullerton. I hope to see you there. More, that's not all. If you don't know when the open house is at your local school, I highly encourage you to find out when open house is and go to open house. It is incredible to see what your student has done all year in their current class, but it's also a great opportunity to do a little peek and see what's going to happen in the next year in their next grade level. So I highly recommend that. Recommend to get out to all of those events. And this coming Wednesday, April 22nd, we have Excellenza. If you thought tonight was great with the art and the guitar playing and different things you saw, we will have dancing, we will have singing, we will have a band and an orchestra, and it is incredible. And student artwork from every single school on display. It is truly an art extravaganza named Excellenza. Finally, April 25th is Love Fullerton. The Fullerton community is such an amazing community. The Fullerton community adopts our schools and does incredible things to help our schools look more beautiful and to do things that normally we can't do because they come out and they do some beautification work, some gardening, helping to rehab some areas, and it's all done by volunteers, which is where I'm asking each of you, come out, go to the lovefullerton.org website, sign up for a project, and come out. I'll be out. I'll be working at some of our schools. Really look forward to seeing what's going to happen at our schools and all the work the community will put in. So thank you, everyone, for all that you do to make Fullerton great, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Chad. Next, we have information from our Board of Trustees. So I'm going to start, well, I was going to say with Bev Berryman. Are you ready, Bev? Would you like to start your reports? That's okay. You feel... Okay.
Wasn't prepared. Welcome. Thank you guys all for being here. I'm not going to take too much time. I think Dr. Chad kind of talked about a lot of the things that we do. I do want to bring to everyone's attention about our arts program, right? I mean, watching tonight, hearing about what's going on, hearing about all the upcoming events that we have, all the plays that was the season that we just went to, that the Fullerton School District does believe in arts education. And we have never faltered from that throughout the years. Budget cuts or no budget cuts, we have never taken the arts out of our schools. And so I think that's very important, and it's so great to see the electricity that happens from that, because we're hitting children and we're bringing out that joy of learning and that joy of love. And we were talking about how I still have things on my wall from my kids when they were in all the arts. Some are better than others, but I still have them up. I want to mention a couple of things and give some shout outs. That K-pop, our K-pop band festival was last week. I do want to give a shout out to some of our principals. I won't name them by names, but it's always great to see our principals participating and showing our students that they too can get up there and dance a great jig or what have you. So thank you for all of that. It's just been wonderful to see that. FSD Fest coming up. Again, it's the Super Bowl of what we do here at the school district, and that doesn't go unnoticed. That is a lot of time and effort. K-pop is time and effort. FSD Fest there's so much that goes into that from every one of our school sites, from every one of our staff members. Everybody puts a little bit into that. Some people put a lot into that. But I think for our students to be able to showcase their learning and showcase what they're passionate about really does bring their learning to light. It's like they really do find something they enjoy doing, and it makes them want to come to school. So thank you for putting the time and effort into that event. It gets better and better every year. It's great to have it at Cal State Fullerton because it's a great place for our kids to be able to go onto a university campus and really see what it's like, so that they can see that in their future as well. I'm going to open houses. Again, the electricity that you have when you go to an open house is remarkable, right? You walk onto a campus and everyone's so excited. Students are always so excited about showing their families their work. Sometimes I follow little kids around and I get in trouble because they're like, "Mom, who's this lady? Follow me." Because I just like to hear the kids talk about their work, right? So it's just so wonderful to see that electricity. And I do believe that that's it from my report. I'm sure I've left off a lot, but I'm sure it'll be picked up here. I've been a little busy. I do have a new grandbaby, so
congratulations.
I did spend my weekend with my little grand, so thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Cho?
Thank you, Madam President. Two things I'd like to discuss. I know we're going to have a vote later on tonight about a new superintendent, but I did want to take a moment to thank Chad for keeping the ship steady during a moment of transition. This board composition is new. A lot of us are working together for the first time, still trying to figure things out, figure out the left and right bounds, and some people, myself, ask a lot of questions. And having someone who is responsive and dedicated to making sure that we get our answers accurately and promptly was very appreciated. So thank you for that. Second thing that I wanted to highlight was I got to go to the last day of the Korean-speaking parents parent workshop. I got to go to the first day. That was a few weeks ago, but it was of particular significance to me because I saw my mom there. So I saw a lot of my moms there, learning in Korean in language without translation, questions about public education, how to better support their children in their path forward, questions about Fullerton School District, all that get answered and meet a network of other families that are going through some of the same questions. And it was very meaningful to me. So thank you to Susan Choi, Principal Guppy for supporting this kind of outreach effort, Jenny Saul and Dr. Erlinda Soltero Ruiz for putting together and making this happen, because my mom would have wanted something like that. And now moms now have something like that. So thank you very much. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Trustee Alvarez, would you like to go next?
I thought we were going to go in order.
Oh, sorry.
Switching it up. I will. Yes, so I'm excited to report that this past month I was able to visit Orangethorpe, Ladera Vista Pacific Drive, and Nicholas Junior High. And at Orangethorpe, I was able to connect with our ELAC families and PTA leaders, as well as our school site council representatives. So Debbie, to your action-packed day, you had back-to-back meetings, so I got to stay through that. And the parents brought up great points regarding student safety, issues with technology and how much we're exposing children to technology in the classroom, cyber safety and bullying, and also concerns over traffic and some of the zones there at Orangethorpe. My visit to Nicholas, I wanted to really give a shout out to Mr. Jose Varela for the leadership and what you have done to impact school culture and really improve the vibrancy of that school for South Fullerton and for all of our learners. And I was really impressed with the Spider Lab, the Tiny Home Project, and the electives that are happening there that are around career-aligned education. And I want to commend what you are doing, what your teachers are doing, and I'm proud of the work and efforts that you have done to improve that site. So thank you so much, and to your team. I'll also be spending my Wednesday or tomorrow with Nicholas junior high students going to the Carpenters Training Facility for our Tiny Home Project. So really excited to continue that work and see that early career exposure and opportunities. And lastly, but not least, I spent the day with our FIDA leadership and CTA to look at our district budget and review compensation as it relates to market analysis across Orange County with comparable and sizable districts. So it's always really important to have that partnership, and I appreciate the invitation. And the key takeaway there is when you pay teachers well, they stay, they invest, and primarily they are the ones that are in the classroom day in and day out working tirelessly to make FSD what it is in partnership with our school leadership in our district. So our parents have safety at the top of their mind, and our CTE initiatives, I want to continue to invest in that in our board, and thank you, Esther and Dr. Brown, around the work that you are doing in that area as well, and aligning with our K-16 SWP initiatives. That is all for my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Estrella.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for staying. After all those incredible, I was telling Miguel, do we really have to have a meeting? Can we just let the kids continue performing the entire evening? I would have loved to continue hearing La Cucaracha. It's a very catchy song. Miguel and I keep singing it. So since our last school board meeting, I've attended some very incredible events. I actually attended the unveiling and opening of the Truslow Park mural, where I was very surprised and happy to see Mariachi Los Knights from Nicholas Junior High perform, and I really do want to give them a big, huge, heartfelt shout out because they definitely represented Fullerton and Nicholas very well and made our district proud. I love that our city is able to connect with our high school and our performers, and they're able to hire them to perform, just FYI. I also attended Beechwood for the Junior High Street Hockey Championship, so I want to congratulate Beechwood for their win again. It was it was definitely a nail biter, and I at some point thought Jose for those of you who don't know, Jose, our principal from Nicholas, was going to jump in the ring because he was very excited. Again, when I say it was a nail biter, it was definitely a nail biter, all the way to the very end. So I want to congratulate every single team that was there, every child that gave it their all that day. It was hot, and it was it was a lot of fun. Parents, family, everybody that was there to support and cheer on our students. Thank you. Talking about open houses, was already able to attend Richmond Elementary's open house, and as as Trustee Berryman, sorry. It's been a very long day. As Trustee Berryman, I was going to say Bev, and I was like, Trustee Bev. Trustee Berryman said, it's amazing to be able to go and walk from classroom to classroom, from preschool. They have an amazing preschool at Richmond, from preschool all the way to sixth grade, and speak to the teachers and see the kids' artwork and the amazing work. They're so bright and talented. It's just so amazing to be able to do that and speak, it speaks volumes when you see so many families there, and the teachers with their open doors willing to have conversations with you, and the parents. It's just amazing. Again, they always go, every school, I feel like, always, and every teacher and every staff always goes above and beyond to make sure that our kids are happy and our parents are well informed during open house and every day. But also, big shout out to Bracken's Kitchen, because they were there providing free meals to every family that attended. And I didn't get to taste it because the line was long and I had to, move on from class to class, but the food looked delicious. I did get to take a picture of somebody's plate. Also, another just quickly last thing is when I attended Woodcrest Elementary for Reading Across America, my goal was to go to the classroom. It was a 5th and 6th grade class. And my goal was to go in there, read, get the kids engaged, and ask questions. And then out of nowhere, they start asking questions about the menu and about the food. And multiple kids wanted to know why we had this and why we didn't serve that. So I said, hold on one second. I took out my phone and I said, I want to get every single question that you guys have and hopefully get an answer for you. Well, not only did we get an answer from Nutrition Services on the multiple questions. I believe there was 14 students, and the teacher also had a question. But Mr. Trejo, is he still here? Mr. Trejo back there and Chef P went to the school, went to the classroom, made a presentation, answered every single one of those kids' questions, and brought a treat. And, that goes to show FSD is always, regardless of who it is and what part of our district, always willing to go above and beyond for our students. And it was just so amazing. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of that. I was really so grateful and proud of our district. Like I said, every single person that is here in this room, principals, teachers, always willing to go above and beyond. And so I just want to say thank you. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. It's so fun to hear each other's reports because we don't always know all these things that are happening. So thank you for sharing what you've been up to. I wanted to actually talk about a couple of issues. First is just to recognize that April is Arab American Heritage Month, and we are celebrating our students and our families and our staff that are from the Middle East and North African heritage and the important contribution they make to our community. So it's been nice to see some of the ways we've celebrated that this month, as well as Autism Acceptance Month. That many of our schools have been doing really beautiful jobs of bringing both awareness and acceptance and joy in that conversation at the schools. It's also Child Abuse Prevention Month in April. So I wanted to speak about that briefly because I know that while generally child abuse is decreasing in our communities and in our county, and that we've done, I think, at a county level, much better job in recent years of supporting families where they're at to improve and find healthy ways of parenting and caring for their kids. We know that there's still, our latest report from 2024 is 26,000 students in Orange County that reported experiencing child abuse, and at least 16% of those were substantiated, most because of neglect. And in Fullerton specifically, 6.5 children out of 1,000 experienced substantiated child abuse in 2024. So it's something I know that many of our teachers and our families deal with on a regular basis. But the good news is I know we can make a difference. I really appreciate the way our staff works hard to know each one of the kids in their community, in their classroom, and on the playground, in the spaces where we are serving kids. They pay attention. They notice things. They respond and support our kids when they're experiencing hard things. And we do our best to wrap around families and parents to help them do their best as well. But I also want to just acknowledge that it is a heavy burden that many of our staff carry. And it doesn't go unnoticed, the work that you do all the time to care for our kids and our families. In fact, our board, we were discussing this issue, and we decided we would take the training and the background checks and all of the things that you have to do as mandatory reporters so that we can both understand and be in this with you. So we will be completing that training, but also taking on that responsibility with you in that. And I'm excited about the fact that we have curriculum coming. I know we've got a working group that's been working on looking at prevention curriculum for integrating that into our classrooms starting next year, along with our SEL, our social emotional learning, so that every child knows that they deserve to grow up in a community and a space and a home and a school that's free of neglect and violence and abuse, and that they know that there are trusted adults that will be there for them and support them and believe them. I know we already do so much to help our families and meet them where they're at and ensure that they can do their very best to meet the tangible needs they might have, supporting them with healthy parenting skills, managing stress, mental health, and ensuring that families have the support and resources they need. But I think that this next step of providing knowledge to children and education is another way that we can support them to ensure that we have healthy kids, happy kids, and staff and families and adults around them that will help them thrive. And I just, thinking about as we're wrapping up this school year and starting to look for the new one, and I just acknowledge that this is a time of transition and change for Fullerton School District. We are going to be having a new superintendent. We have a lot of beloved teachers and staff that will be retiring, a kind of record number this year. And it can be hard to be in the in-between. There can be a lot of anxiety and fear, and I think that international news lately has not made that any easier for any of us, contributing to these feelings of instability and anxiety. But I've had some time to think about it. I've had some bad days too, but I was thinking about, in those moments, I feel like we can still remain, I am encouraged and anchored in our bedrock shared belief in our value system of just caring for each and every child, and that we are working together as a community to do our very best for our kids, our staff, and our families so they'll thrive. And I know that even in this moment of change, we have a rich history of success for kids, of caring for one another, and I'm really proud of all that we do for our kids. And I know we'll continue to build on that moving forward. We strive for excellence, for innovation. We've seen that the outcomes of that, but we love our kids well here. And I am really hopeful and grateful for my board in this process of writing through this change in the process. I'm grateful for our cabinet, Dr. Hammett, and others that have supported us and will continue to lead, and our staff that continue to make this a great place. So just we're with you in it, and I have strong belief and faith in our ability to write this change. Thanks. Next, we are going to hear from our associations. So I will start with DLAC. If Mira, you want to join us.
Good evening, President Hanchett, members of the board, Dr. Hammett, Executive Cabinet, and families joining us. My name is Mayra Zamora, and I am pleased to share updates from our District English Learner Advisory Committee, DLAC. On behalf of DLAC, we would like to warmly welcome our new Superintendent, Dr. Johnson, to the Fullerton School District. We look forward to meeting with you and learning more about your vision and plans for our district. We will also like to invite you to our final DLAC meeting of the academic year, which will take place on Friday, May 7 at 9 a.m. at Parks Junior High School. This is a special occasion as it will be the first time Parks Junior High hosts a DLAC meeting due to the absence of a multipurpose room. Principal Bright will host us at the ARC, Arts and Recreation Center. We hope you can join us. On behalf of the DLAC committee, we extend our sincere gratitude to the Board of Education and the Educational Services team for your continued support of our English learner students, the families, and our community. Thank you and have a good night.
PTA, Joanne, would you like to join?
Good evening, Dr. Hammond, President Hatchett, and members of the board. My name is Joanne Cho, and I have the pleasure of serving as the president of Fullerton Council of PTAs for this year. Fullerton Council of PTA membership currently has 4,473 PTA members across our PTA unit schools. And it's not too late. You can still join. Remember, your membership donations can help us in the PTA make a positive difference in our schools and our individuals and all the kids that are there with us. Our annual PTA convention, this ultimate PTA leadership experience, is in beautiful Fresno. May 1st through 3rd, and celebrate over 125 years of changing children's lives. You are an important voice for all children and families. You'll be inspired by other PTA leaders and understand the connection for the larger PTA picture. You'll return home with fresh ideas, improved skills, and new friends and inspiration for the work ahead. Our individual PTA units are wrapping up the process of forming next year's PTA leadership, and I would like to take the opportunity to announce our Fullerton Council PTA Executive Board next year. The president is Aaliyah Cass. Vice president is Jessica T. Secretary is Ji-Young Choi. Membership is Melissa Proctor. Historian is Nivi Juar. Treasurer is Ray Gibson. Financial reviewer is Annie Haga. And parliamentarian is Lisa Sherman. Yay, good job, everybody. For all our new and returning PTA executive boards, there's a great opportunity to learn and grow at the 4th District PTA Spring Training Workshops and Vendor Fair at the Orange County Department of Education May 30th at 8:30 to 2 p.m. Please encourage your PTA leadership to attend. The 4th District PTA Advocacy Forum will be held on April 24th. It will be about voting and civic engagement. A representative from Orange County Registrar's Office will describe how ballots are protected and counted. And there will be also information about how to hold a voter registration drive for high school seniors and how PTA can encourage civic engagement. You need to register on the 4th District PTA website. And lastly, our Fullerton Council Spring Luncheon is Tuesday, April 28th, 2025 at Coyote Hills Golf Course at 11 a.m. We celebrate the accomplishments of this year and welcome new PTA presidents for next year, along with our honorary service awards to the community members that have made a difference in our community. Please feel free to reach out to us at any time at fullertoncouncilpta@gmail.com. We're always happy to hear from you. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Joanne. Do we have a representative from CSEA tonight? Okay, great.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Hammett, President Hanchett, Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinet, and guests. My name is Roxanne Arellano. I am the chapter treasurer, speaking on behalf of the CSEA. As we approach the close of another meaningful school year, I want to take a moment to reflect on the collaboration, dedication, and shared commitment that continue to define our work across the Fullerton School District. This year, our collective efforts have been strengthened through ongoing collaboration with our PAL groups. By joining forces, we have expanded our impact, supported our students more efficiently and effectively, and reinforced the sense of community that makes our district so special. It is Through these partnerships that we are able to do our very best work. At this time, I would like to take a moment to recognize excellence within our district. A special shout out to Jaggeth, who is part of our IIS department, for being recognized as the top technician of Orange County, which is an outstanding accomplishment that reflects not only individual dedication, but the strength of the programs and support systems we have in place. And lastly, we invite you to join us in celebrating our incredible staff at the Retirement and Years of Service End of the Year Banquet on May 1st at Ladera Vista. This event is a meaningful opportunity to honor those who have dedicated years of service to our students and community and to celebrate the lasting impact they have made. As the year comes to close, we remain grateful for your leadership and support. Together, we continue to make a difference in the lives of our students and families. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. FETA, Darlene?
Okay, got to put my glasses on. All right. Good evening, President Hanchett, board members, Dr. Hammett, cabinet, FETA members, and guests. FETA is excited to begin working with our new superintendent. Welcome, Gretchen Jansen. In February, FETA proudly awarded scholarships to our members and their dependents. While we always wish we could do more, we are thrilled to share that 3 teachers and 10 dependents received awards this year. Thank you to our principals for welcoming us onto your campuses and helping us surprise our deserving recipients. Each year, FETA has the privilege of recognizing 3 outstanding leaders with the California Teachers Association called the WHO Award. We honor ours. This year, we are proud to honor Shelley Behrens from Maple, Susan Cravello, district nurse, and Stephanie Hitz from both, well, was at Hermosa and is now at Pack Drive. But yeah. These exceptional women provide invaluable support to our members, our district, and our board. I'm personally grateful for their dedication. I truly could not do my job without them. They will be celebrated at a dinner on May 6th. In honor of Read Across America, FETA donated books to school libraries and to our representatives' classroom libraries. Junior high and K-8 sites received Will's Race for Home by Jewel Parker Rhodes, while elementary and K-8 sites received They Call Me Teach. On April 7th, FETA celebrated with 25 of our upcoming retirees at a special dinner from Fratellino's restaurant, where they also received important information about CTA retired benefits. There were many smiles and a great sense of excitement in the air. Trust me. FETA hosted our 3rd Sip and Paint event last night. Some looked like that, and some did not. But it was fun. A big thank you to Phil Ling and especially the talented Terry Orr for helping make this event such a success. It was a fantastic evening filled with creativity, laughter, and a chance to unwind and be artists for a night. And Terry kept saying, just remember, I believe in you. So, I unfortunately did not get the message about the hockey tournament being rained out, so I was there. I cheered everybody on, but I was also calling people and saying, am I at the wrong site? Where am I? So I look forward to whenever that gets rescheduled. But I had my Commonwealth t-shirt on. Finally, I had the wonderful opportunity to attend Commonwealth's production of the Aristocats and Richmond's performance of Moana 2. And it makes me cry. The talent, voices, and acting skills of these young performers were incredible. It is truly inspiring to see such confidence and creativity on stage. And thanks to all the teachers who took their time and added their hearts to these productions, and Sarah Cooper is one of them right here from Richmond. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Darlene. We appreciate you. I know you've got at least 1 or 2 more board meetings with us, but one. She's counting down the.
Who's counting? Who's counting, right?
Thank you for your care and service for our teachers and our district and our kids. We really appreciate you. Yeah. Okay, I think we have our representative Alma to speak to us about our Special Education Parents Association.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Hammett, Board President Ruthie Hatchett, board members, cabinet, and families. On Friday, April 3rd, we had our last SIPA meeting of the year. It was great. It was a great experience getting to meet the different therapists, teachers who provide services to our students, including occupational therapists, speech pathologists, adaptive PE teachers, and physical therapists. They explained the process of how students qualify for services, and it was helpful to learn that a student can receive support in one area or multiple areas depending on their individual needs. From my own experience, my child receives support from all of these services. He truly enjoys each one and is thriving thanks to the dedication and hard work of his therapist. He especially loves adaptive PE because it gives him the opportunity to feel included in sports and to be part of a team. Ms. Jamie has made a meaningful impact on my child's educational journey, and we are so grateful for her support, and her encouragement. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Alma. Do we have a representative from FESMA tonight?
We do not have a FESMA report.
Okay. Well, then we will move on to our portion of public comment. And we do, I believe, have at least one public comment on a non-agendized item. So I will read our statement about the rules of decorum for public comment. So the board meeting follows rules of decorum per board bylaw 9323. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board limits the total time for public input to each item to 20 minutes. The total time allowed for public comment shall be 30 minutes. Public comments about an item that is not on the agenda will be heard at the time the agenda item is considered by the board. Public comments about an item that is not on the posted agenda will be heard at the beginning of open session when called upon by the board president. No action or discussion may take place on an item that is not on the posted agenda except as expressly authorized by law. Since the board cannot take action on items that are not on the agenda, such items will be referred to the superintendent for handling. Board members may request that any item be placed on a future agenda for further discussion. And the board president and superintendent will determine the best time to place an item on the agenda. So persons wishing to discuss the board are invited to complete and submit a request slip to speak to and bring it to Anna M., our executive assistant, and these slips are available at the entrance of the room under the big yellow sign. So I have one from Greg Bach. Others can submit slips, or if Anna has any more, she'll bring them to me. So, Mr. Bach, you are the only one I have right now, so please
Bev
go ahead.
Told me to get here 30 minutes early. I got here at 5:30. You know, most of you don't know me. Bev is the last of the Mohicans to be on the board from the time I was teaching here. I retired almost 20 years ago. I spent 32 years teaching in this district, and I moved to Fullerton in 1953, so I went to school in this district as well, as did our kids and now our grandkids. Matter of fact, I haven't heard anyone talk about the 10-year-old hockey game at Richmond Friday for the Beechwood team, so go watch that. Some of you on the board may know me. You may have been here when I swore in a Rooney in his first term. Other than that, the only person I know here is my new friend up here with the gold tie, who we bonded over the shout out to ABBA. Okay, this is going to sound boring when I tell you what it's going to be about. And I pared this down from 30 minutes to as close to 3 as I possibly can, because it's a story about one of my ex-students, and it sounds boring, but it'll build up. And frankly, this is for the 6 of you that are sitting up there. So the teacher in me will always be in me. There may be a test later. One of my students grew up in Fullerton and was educated in this district. He spent 4 years in my class, not because he was retained, but because I took a 4th grade class to 5th and then on to 6th. He went on to be a bilingual Spanish teacher in grades 1 through 3 in the Norwalk School District. He was a teacher on special assignment, middle school, Norwalk La Mirada School District, assistant principal, Norwalk La Mirada School, Middle School, principal, Norwalk La Mirada School District, director of Human Services, Los Angeles County Office of Education, principal at Beechwood School in this district, which, by the way, he turned around. It always wasn't the school, the high-scoring school that it is today. Assistant superintendent in Buena Park, superintendent of schools in the Buena Park School District, deputy superintendent of the Orange County Department of Education, current superintendent of Cabrillo Unified School District, who valued him so much that they fly him up and back every weekend. He has a bachelor's degree from Vanguard University, a master's degree from Azusa Pacific, professional clear administrative credential from Whittier College, Doctor of Education K through 12 from the University of Southern California. Long list of achievements, which would not make my cut down for you people for 3 minutes. A long list of achievements, organization memberships, professional education organizations, professional development, letters of recommendation. The Dean of Vanguard University, Jeff Hittenberger, said, Dr. Miramontes brings a deep sense of compassion to his work and relationships. He has extensive experience navigating complex and sensitive organizational issues. He has strong binds with district superintendents and other leaders statewide. I'm down to my last 15 seconds. As a professional in the education field, this young man, this former student of mine, who's not a young man anymore, but this man could well be the most accomplished former student in the history of this school district in the field of education. He applied for the superintendent's job and couldn't even get an interview. Shame on you. Shame, shame on you. And don't blame it on a search committee, because the final decision is yours. This is someone who still lives in Fullerton, a homegrown Fullerton kid, a person that came up through this school district, a person that was a principal and teacher in this school district, and has credentials that would match any superintendent in the country, and he didn't get an interview. Shame on you.
Okay, we will be moving on to our next section where we are looking at approving our minutes from previous meetings. So at this point, I need us to present a motion to approve the minutes from March 10.
Madam President, I think there was one edit.
Skip something?
Minutes
Please.
for March 10th. Was it March 10th or March 21st? There was the attendance on the minutes that said James Cho was attending via Zoom. Was not on military leave at that time, so I was there in person. So if we make that one edit, we're good to go. Anna, was that the 10th? Yeah, so March 10th.
Okay.
So with that one edit, I'd be happy to make the motion.
Okay, with the revisions, then it's been motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so then we will adopt the regular meeting of March 10, 2026 meeting minutes with the amendment that James Cho was present. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. Next, we have to approve the meeting minutes for the special meeting on March 21st, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so Trustee Berryman moved, and I'm going to go with Miguel for a second. And those in favor of voting to approve those minutes from March 21st, 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. Any objections? No. Okay, I didn't hear you, Bev. Okay, so that passes. And then the last one is our special meeting that was held on March 30, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from that meeting on March 30th?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, great. Moved in second. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. So we're past those three. Next, we're going to look at our agenda and approve it. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda as it is?
I'll move it.
Okay, any seconds?
Second.
Miguel, okay. Any concerns or discussion? Great, we'll go as is. Then all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Next, we are moving on to our first discussion action item, which will be the approval of the contract of our new superintendent. I'm going to ask for a vote and a second, or excuse me, a motion and a second, and then we'll have discussion. So do I have a motion to approve the new superintendent contract?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, great. Then if there's discussion, I will hear that now. No?
I don't have a discussion, maybe just a comment.
Mhm.
Okay. So I feel like tonight is a very important step for Fullerton School District as we approve a contract for our new superintendent, Dr. Jensen. And as a trustee, but more importantly, as an FSD mom, I'm really proud of the thoughtful and intentional process that brought us to you, Dr. Jensen. I'm going to, again, the first and last names. From the conversations and the process that we went through, it was really clear to us that you really do keep students at the center of every decision that you make. And that was very, very important to us. So I'm looking forward to working together to continue strengthening our schools, supporting the teachers and staff, and making sure that every child in our district really does feel seen, supported, and able to succeed and thrive. But I also want to be clear that this is not goodbye to a Dr. Hammett. Because Dr. Hammett, we really appreciate you. I appreciate you as a mom, as a trustee, but I see how hard you work and how much you care, not just for our district, but for our kids, for our families, for us, and how you've kept our district strong during this transition time. And that means so much to all of us. So much. More than I couldn't find words to describe how much really that means to all of us. So, yes, you're still leading us. And we are so grateful for your continued leadership as we move forward. But we really do greatly appreciate you. And we support you in this process. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
I have a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
So I just wanted to welcome you, Dr. Jansen. It's very clear that you are a strategist with empathy, and you are analytical, and you are going to bring a new vision to Fullerton School District. And I just want to thank you for accepting the offer, and we welcome you with open arms. And as you know, as I'm sure Ruthie has mentioned to you, Fullerton is a very involved community, and so we want to also welcome you and ensure that we introduce you to all of the stakeholders here. And just really happy that you're going to be coming on board.
Thank you. I know I always appreciate when leaders explain their reasoning and thinking behind decisions. And so I also wanted to explain why I've chosen to vote for this contract for Dr. Gretchen Johnson. And, we had over 2,800 people feed into this process of listening and identifying qualities that they wanted to see in a superintendent. That's a lot of opinions and a lot of input. And so I think we took that very seriously, wanting to represent our community and wanting to make sure that we were carrying that responsibility. It means a lot to all of us on this board. But after an important, thoughtful process, I personally saw in Dr. Gretchen Jansen someone who's a good listener, a learner, a mentor, passionate about student success, and a real fire in her to see growth, a solid ethical core, and a commitment to see students thrive. So I think her experiences and strengths as a teacher, an instructional leader, principal, a CBO demonstrate that she's a hands-on learner who has closed academic gaps, especially for English language learners. She's respected by her labor partners and empowers teacher efficacy and uses resources wisely to get the results that we want and value. So we are excited to welcome you and what you bring to our district, and we thank you. And we're excited for that work. And I also want to publicly thank Dr. Chad Hammett for all the excellent work that you've done in this interim time and leading us so well, and the role that you continue to do as you lead us through July 1st. We appreciate you and your professionalism and your heart and your care, the excellence that you bring every single day. We appreciate, we see it, and we trust you and are grateful for the way you'll continue to lead us. So thank you, Dr. Hammett. So with that, we will, I think, take our vote.
I was going to say something.
Yes, please.
You don't mind?
Yes.
So I'm going to add to the fact that when we bring one person on, we bring the whole family on.
Yes.
So thank you for bringing them here this evening. We're sorry now about all the hours that she'll have to work. But as you can see, we're a very, very involved district. There's a lot going on here. And so we appreciate the fact that you're excited about embarking in this new adventure with us. I think some of the things that were stood out to me as we went through this interviewing process were the fact that you have the experience as the classroom teacher, as on site in a district office, and as a business person. And as a business person, what I heard is that you were able to bring your business department and those people that support classroom learning out to school sites. And so you would schedule weekly visits so that you brought people that were not on a school site to a school site to see what is it that our kids need in order to learn. And so that's bringing your education piece and your passion piece on student learning to the business department to bring everybody on board, right? Because we're all here for that same purpose of educating students. And so that to me was something very, surprising that business people don't always do that, right? So you don't think of a business person as doing that. So we appreciate that. I heard a lot about you walk the walk. And so you say things, you have a high moral compass, and you do what you say you're going to do. The integrity there. It's not always easy to be a business person, and so I know that. But those things are going to help in managing a district like this and being able to be part of that. So I appreciate that. Your ability to speak to many of our families because you're bilingual in Spanish, so you'll be able to speak to a lot of our families and make them feel heard, included, and so that's important for us as well. We again, as you can see, are a very involved board. And we do appreciate all those qualities that I think you'll bring to our district, and very excited to see the things that you can do. So thank you.
Okay. Yes.
And so for me, one of the reasons why I was excited about your candidacy is when we were talking during that all-day interview or series of interviews was your vision to set high standards for every single child and to provide the support for that child to be the best version of themselves. So if they need to be challenged, we'll be there for them. If they need a little extra help, we'll be there for them. And with your business background and a very apparent data-driven approach, taking a hard look at what we've been doing, see if it still works, or if we might need to take a different direction, that fresh approach was appreciated by me, and I'm really looking forward to getting started on this journey with you. So thank you for your time, and thank you for being here.
Okay. Well, then, shall we, I'm looking for a motion, or excuse me, we've already gone through that. So we're just looking to take a vote at this point then to approve the contract for the new superintendent. So I will ask all those in favor of approving this new contract for the superintendent, say aye.
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 Okay, that passes 5-0. We can take a moment and congratulate our new superintendent. We would love to have her join us. So,
She actually has something that she would like to say.
yes, yes. We have a microphone there, or you can go to the podium if you prefer. Why don't you come up front? We can, yeah.
All right. Thank you. I need my glasses also, so I can identify with that. Is this good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Front.
First of all, I prepared remarks because I knew I was going to be nervous, which I am, but excited. And as I was listening to everyone today and seeing all of the students here and seeing the wonderful work and hearing from you and just seeing all of the great faces that were here today, everything that I wrote felt so reinforced. So I'm going to go ahead and share it. So. I would like to recognize three very important gentlemen in my life that are here tonight. My father, who's been my tremendous supporter, Leaf, my husband and partner, Rich, and our youngest son, Will, who I'm so proud of, and I'm so happy to have them here. But I will go ahead and share my written remarks. I'm deeply honored and grateful for the trust that you've placed in me to serve as your next superintendent. This is a responsibility that I don't take lightly, and I'm truly excited to join a district with such a strong reputation for excellence, innovation, care for its students, and a deep commitment to partnership and community. The Fullerton School District has a rich and proud history, one built by dedicated educators, supportive families, committed staff, and a community that believes in the power of education. I want you to know that I'm committed to carrying forward the great work that is already taking place in this district. My goal is not to change what's working well, but to build upon it, honoring the foundation that has been laid while helping to move Fullerton confidently into the future. At the heart of my work, my why, is a deep commitment to improving student achievement. I began my career as a classroom teacher, and that experience continues to ground and guide every decision I make. It's what keeps me focused on what matters most. I believe strongly that public education can and should be a powerful change maker in the lives of students. Every decision we make, every initiative we pursue, and every partnership we build must ultimately serve that purpose, ensuring that all students have the opportunity to succeed and thrive. I'm especially excited to work alongside this board of trustees whose leadership and vision will help to guide the district. I also look forward to partnering closely with our cabinet, our management team, our families, and our valued partners in the Teachers Association and CSEA. I believe our greatest successes will come from how we collaborate with one another across the broader Fullerton community. It's clear that the strength of this district comes from its people, and I'm eager to learn from each of you. While I come into this role with nearly 30 years of experience, I also come with humility. I know there is much to learn about this community, its traditions, and what makes Fullerton so special. I'm committed to listening, to building relationships, and ensuring that our decisions always center on what's best for students. I'll admit starting a new role like this comes with a lot to take in, new faces, new systems, new acronyms. I might need a cheat sheet or some help for a while, but I promise I'll catch on quickly. I just am incredibly excited for the work ahead. Together, I believe we can continue to foster innovative opportunities, inspire students, and build an even brighter future for Fullerton. So thank you very much.
We have flowers, Gretchen. Thank you. Okay, can we do a board picture with our new superintendent, and then we'll take a short break to allow folks to get a chance to say hello.
Okay. It's a little warm. Where do you want us?
So as my board is joining us, we have an update
Vanessa.
as we've been asked to move our presentation to this point in the agenda so that we can allow our chief of police to continue on with his evening as he has very important business to attend to. So can I have a motion, or I'll make the motion to amend our agenda for tonight in order to move up our presentation to this point in the agenda.
Second.
I have a second. Okay. All those in favor of that change to our agenda, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, great. Then we will hear from our superintendent, Dr. Chad Hammett, and our chief of police from Fullerton Police Department.
Good evening, President Hanchett, board members, and all staff who's here, in addition to the cabinet. We're really pleased tonight to be able to make a presentation together, myself with our chief of police, John Radis, and we're really talking about the continued partnership for student and staff safety between the Fullerton School District and the Fullerton Police Department. So I'll ask Anna if she can maybe put up our presentation so we can share it with our audience. Great. And if you go to the next slide, please. We have a shared commitment between the Fullerton School District and the Fullerton Police Department that student and staff safety is our top priority. In order for students to learn, and in order for students to thrive at school, they need to feel safe. Safety is the number one thing that has to happen in order for learning to take place. Additionally, when parents drop off their children at our schools, they need to feel assured that when they come back, their children will be able to be picked up and will actually be in a better place than they were when they were dropped off that morning. So that's a shared commitment we have. Safety enables learning, growth, and connection, and we really are focused together as a team on how do we provide prevention so that things that shouldn't happen to children don't happen, that there is response in case there are things going on either at a school or in the community that needs quick response, and then finally, how do we recover? How do we get things back to normal? Being that former classroom teacher, I know the importance of being able to make those children know, if bad things happen, to have children know that the adults have responded, the adults care for them, and that we're moving forward with recovery. So just some terminology that I want to provide the board. You'll hear different things happen, and you'll hear different terms thrown around about a lockdown or a shelter in place, and we have shared language that we use on what these items are. So when you hear a school put on lockdown, that means that there's a potential threat or an emergency on or near a campus. And that threat may present harm, physical harm, or emotional or social emotional harm to children. So in that case, doors are locked, students are secured in the classroom, and generally in most cases of lockdown, the police department, law enforcement, Fullerton Police Department is leading an active response in regards to the threat. And very often that lockdown will either be put in place by the Fullerton Police Department or by our own staff, if our own staff sees that there's a need for a lockdown. But when we're on lockdown, students are in the classroom, they don't leave the classroom, and there's a response to make sure students are kept safe. We have a shelter in place also, and this is when there's something going on in the environment or the community, maybe nearby the school, but there's not an immediate threat to the campus. And a shelter in place is when instruction continues indoors, movement is limited around the campus, but really the goal is to keep students in the classroom because of perhaps environmental factors that we don't want them to be exposed to, loud noises, or things that may be going on in the nearby community. So you'll hear these two items thrown out there as words, but we want you to have a better understanding of what they mean. Lockdown being the more serious or more severe of the two over shelter in place. So we have a lot of technology that we use to help keep our campuses safe. One of the things that we have is we have cameras on all of our schools. Now, those cameras aren't used to provide ongoing monitoring, but they're used in response to a situation. And so if we have a situation on a campus, we're happy and pleased to report that the Fullerton Police Department, every one of their officers, every one of their sergeants, every one of their field individuals, and their dispatch have access to our cameras. So if there's a call that comes in and somebody says, hey, you know, this is going on campus, we think this is happening, they're able to get eyes through our cameras on what's happening to know what's going on in one of our campuses. Additionally, they have sets of keys to all the doors on all of our campuses, and we've seen in other situations at schools where law enforcement was not able to get into doors. Our police department has access to all of our keys, all of our doors, and all of our campuses. Additionally, we have recently updated and increased our contact list. We now have the ability for law enforcement to get directly a hold of all of our school office staff and administration without going through the phone tree. So they have a direct line, they can get directly in, and we can get communication going across all of our phones immediately. Additionally, they have site maps of all of our sites. And so if they get a call that there's something going on in classroom 23, or there's an issue out in the boys' bathroom in wing 3, they'll know exactly what that means. And they're able to find that, and their officers, as they head out, are able to know exactly what that location is and how to get there most efficiently, depending on where their vehicles are parked. So we have communication protocols that we've developed with Fullerton Police Department, and in our discussions with them, this isn't something that's very common in the school and law enforcement partnership industry. Most school districts and police departments don't have the type of communication protocol we have. So if there is an incident occurring near a campus, so in other words, and what do we define as near? That would be something that can be seen from the campus, from the playground, from the front office, from a classroom, or within 500 feet. For example, if it was over a fence, maybe in a backyard abutting up to one of our campuses, or in an area, maybe an apartment complex that sits next to one of our campuses that couldn't be seen. School police will contact us and will tell us one of two things. Either one, Fullerton Police will tell us, hey, there's an incident going on and we're putting you on a lockdown or a shelter in place because of the imminent threat. Or they'll call and say, this is going on. We don't believe there's an imminent threat, but then we, as a school district, ourselves, whoever is receiving that call, myself, any member of my cabinet, or additionally, any of our designees, and the school principal will make a decision. Yes, this is going on. FPD has assured us it's not an immediate threat, but then we're able to also decide, is it something that we need to maybe put students on a lockdown or a shelter in place because of not wanting students to be exposed? And some examples of things that happen. Give you an example today. There was a fire that was near one of our schools. Quite a bit of smoke, and we knew that if the students were outside seeing the smoke and hearing the fire engines and everything that was going on, it would cause quite a bit of excitement out on the playground and cause a lot of questioning, plus also potentially expose students to smoke from the fire. So we immediately went on to a shelter in place. We put our students in the classrooms, continued instruction as normal, but limited access outside the classrooms because we wanted to protect them and not have them exposed either to the environmental elements or the noise and excitement. As you know, sirens and fire engines usually mean everyone run in that direction and look. So just a good example of a reason FPD wouldn't have put us on a shelter in place and lockdown, but that was a decision we made internally to help our students on campus. The other key thing is just making sure that we have rapid decision making and action to ensure safety. So I'm on direct contact, myself and Chris Wilkins, with the chief and his command staff, and we are constantly getting feedback, information, input on what's happening in the city so that we can make sure that we're making good decisions, and we keep our principals informed as well. We have a very good relationship with Sergeant Garcia, who works directly with our school district, and Officer Soto, and we know as soon as we hear sirens or we see something going on, we're immediately being contacted by them. So what have we done to strengthen our collaboration with the Fullerton Police Department? We have made sure that there's ongoing coordination with the chief, with his command staff, and with FSD leadership. So the chief has set up a very good structure in his organization that if he's not there, if he's on a vacation in Tahiti, which I don't know that he ever gets one of those, but in case he's not in town, there are other individuals in the organization, in the command staff, who are able to go ahead and remain in contact with us. Likewise, here on our FSD structure, outside of myself as the interim superintendent, we have the cabinet, and then we have even further layers down of individuals who are contacted. And we receive calls very frequently, and very often they're just informational. They're just to let us know what's happening, but it also gives us the opportunity to make decisions and ensure that our campuses stay safe. The important part is when incidents are actually happening and how we ensure that that communication is ongoing and that we have the same knowledge. So again, the chief has set up that he has sergeants who work directly with us. We keep communication going. We work with Officer Soto. We're very aware of what's happening on the ground, wherever those incidents may be taking place, and given up-to-date information as they have that, so that we're able to make decisions that ensure that if a situation changes, which they can change quickly, that we're able to change courses and either stay with the current course, maybe go to a more severe intervention, or be able to back down and be able to let students go back to normal instruction, normal school operations without having the need for lockdown or shelter in place. We have as well regular strategic meetings, and we've been meeting with FPD recently and frequently to really talk about what are all the things that we need to have in place, which has resulted, for example, in every one of their officers having a sign-in to our camera system, a unique sign-in, so that they're able to access our camera system. So depending on which officer is the first one on the scene, they're able to get eyes on an incident if we have an incident without having to wait for a sergeant or another person to give them access for those situations. So really a lot of work around just ensuring that we are aligned, and we also are working with the high school district, because here in Fullerton, having a separate elementary and high school district, it's very important that we work together and collaborate together, because generally if there's something that happens here, it impacts siblings or families that are at the high school, and likewise, the other way around. All right. We also believe in practicing before it's needed. There's a saying that practice makes perfect. And that's generally the case, but deliberate practice really makes perfect. So we're very deliberate about our practices. We do tabletop exercises where we take different incidents that may occur in the city, and there's a wide variety of things that we see, where we go through the incident and say, okay, how would we respond to this? And truly then look and go through the exercise of let's do the specific things we would do in case this was something happening in the city. And how does that coordinate between the police department, the high school district, and the Fullerton School District to ensure that all three work together? We all have resources. For example, each of our high schools has an officer on their campus, which is different than here in Fullerton, where we have an officer across all 20 schools. So there may be an incident when there's a situation at a school where maybe that school resource officer is the closest officer to the campus, and how do we utilize those shared resources to ensure that we're better meeting the needs of all of our schools? We also do, as I said, scenario-based planning. What's the scenario look like? I won't go into specific instances because I don't want to give too much information, but we go very specific about different scenarios that could happen in the city. And then we also understand clear roles and responsibilities. So, as I mentioned earlier, if Fullerton Police Department calls and says, hey, we need to put you on a lockdown because there's this incident that's happening right outside your campus, or at this fence, or on this street. At that point, Fullerton Police Department takes command over what's happening with the incident. If they call us and just say, hey, there's law enforcement activity near one of your schools, then that becomes more of an FYI. And then we have clear roles and responsibilities managing our own campus and maintaining that shelter in place or lockdown in our own specific instance. And one of the things, and I've heard Chief say it many times, we're constantly looking to improve. So what we find is, and it's unfortunate, but every time we have an incident, we learn something new. We wish that wasn't the case, but it's very important that not only does the incident happen, but that we're reflective, we're meeting together as a team and talking about how can we be better next time. So one of the things that you'll really see us focusing on. All right, next we have during school hours and after hours communication protocols. So we have clear phone protocols as far as calls that go directly to the school, bypassing the phone trees, getting directly to office staff and administration by the police department, and then also clear calls that are made to our district leadership and administrative staff so we know when an incident's happening and what is the level of that incident. So we've really established those clear protocols. If it's an incident that can be seen from a campus, that impacts that campus's ability to conduct recess or have students be free roaming around the campus, we want to make sure that we've restricted those activities. And the contract tree we've set up, we have a very detailed list of numbers for after hours as well. So if there's an after hour incident, contact is made with the school administration, district leadership to let them know. After hours can be difficult. So we have different things that happen at night versus that happen on a weekend, and different ways that plays out depending on who's using the campus, what type of staff do we have on campus. For example, if it's a Saturday and there is no staff on campus, and there's community members who are using our field, either through those fields being open or through the Civic Center, the police department often treats that situation much more like they would like a city park. Immediately responding and dealing with the individuals who are there, just because the time that could be wasted trying to contact and get a hold of the leads and the person who actually, maybe from one of our local organizations that rented the facility or field, may not be easily accessible, so it's quicker for police to be able to respond directly to that incident and work with that. However, if we have staff on campus, in place, we're then able to work directly with that staff to help them be secure and safe, because we do have staff during weeknights that are there cleaning our campuses, doing maintenance, etc. And then one of the other things that we are very pleased to have is our own PIO, and the police department has their own PIO as well. They work together to develop consistent messaging to ensure that the police department knows if we're sending out a message, and we know if the police department's sending out a message, and how do we ensure that there's no surprises for anybody, but that we're coordinating our messages and doing what we can to ensure that one set of messages is in alignment with the other, and we all have the same information. Finally, moving forward together. So what is it that we're doing as we continue to move forward to ensure that our city, our district are stronger and safer? We are continuing to enhance clarity in emergency responses. Again, every emergency response is so unique. So very often we're trying to figure out, is this something we faced before? Or is this something completely new? And we also are continuing to strengthen our communication systems. So doing much better work of ensuring that we're communicating regularly through those tabletop drills, through regular communication across both departments, and really ensuring that we are clearly communicating exactly what's happening. Again, practicing coordinated drills. Our Officer Soto is out at our school drills that we do for active intruder, and she's involved as part of that process, helping staff know how would Fullerton police respond in the case of an active intruder? What does that look like? And how will they be supported in the case that we have an active intruder? As very often those are not scheduled or planned. The training is, but the actual incidents, if they ever were to happen or not. And then really one of the most important things is we center every one of our decisions on protecting students and staff on campus. To come back to where we started at the beginning, student safety is key. Students need to know when they go to school, and statistically, schools are the safest place for students to be. But we want to ensure that students feel that staff feel that when they're on our campuses. Additionally, we are completely compliant with SB 98, which says that all TK through 12 schools and colleges are informing parents if there is immigration enforcement, immigration officers happening on campus. And so we are very aware and we are cognizant of that. We are constantly investigating and determining, is there some sort of immigration enforcement near the campus that would impact the school, and we will inform parents if there's anything that's on a campus or near a campus. Likewise, one of the great things the Fullerton Police Department does is let us know if there's other law enforcement activity going on. Maybe another agency comes into the city. Sometimes that happens through California Highway Patrol or the Orange County Sheriff. And they're very quick to let us know, hey, this incident is happening. It's not our officers necessarily, but you need to know that this is going on, and it may or may not impact one of our campuses. So that's one of the things that we're moving towards. Another thing that's happening right now is our messaging system is being changed. Blackboard messaging was bought out by another company, so we're getting ready to implement the new messaging system that we'll be using. And so one of the things that we're looking at doing is ensuring that around a school where we know there are childcare providers, if there is a local church or if there's a karate studio or somebody else where we know children are picked up, making sure that that childcare provider is on our emergency calling system so they're aware of what's happening. So we haven't completely finished the rollover yet and the upgrades that are coming with that. But one of the things we know that new system will allow us to do is to have community members, and specifically our childcare providers, be able to have the information they need so they're aware, hey, this incident's going on in the neighborhood, hey, this is happening, and they're able to keep up with that as well. So at this time, we're available for questions.
Okay. So yes, this is not an action item. It's simply an information for us as a board. So do we have some questions from the board?
Hello. First of all, thank you for this presentation. I want to start by saying how I truly appreciate the partnership that the Fullerton Police Department and Fullerton School District have had, but more so now. As someone who's had conversations in the past with Chief Radius regarding safety from concerned community members and teachers and staff, I really do value the open communication and collaboration that we have going on. I also appreciate the clarity around emergency protocols and shared commitment to keeping our students and staff safe. But also, I just heard it from you by including other community organizations and providers and places where our children might go after school for daycare and things like that. But I do have a question. This presentation was very thorough, but I'm just kind of thinking outside of the box really quick. And so this is more for Chief Radius. Radius, I know I'm saying your name wrong. For Chief Radius. Do you currently see any challenges in responding to school emergencies? I know this is, again, very thorough, but do you see any challenges? And if so, what steps would the Fullerton Police Department take to address those gaps before an incident occurs?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really open-ended question.
I know.
So there's always challenges when responding to calls for service at schools, especially if it's something that involves violence, right? Because we have to potentially people on lockdown. You could potentially have students in classrooms for up to 8 hours while we search a school. That's about the average time, right? And then you have reunification. So there's a ton of challenges always when we respond to schools in incidents like that. What gaps are there? Well, if we're being honest, the Fullerton High School District has a school resource officer on every campus, right? You guys pay for a school liaison officer, and we're grateful for the partnership, but that's one police officer for 20 schools. And so if there is a specific gap, it would be that we don't have police officers on every campus, which is really difficult to do. Across the country, that doesn't happen. But that's a very obvious gap, right? But there are tons of challenges. We could probably have an 8-hour day on challenges responding to calls for service at schools. What I can tell you is our police officers are incredibly well trained. I think the fact that we have a relationship, the fact that I'm here tonight at your request and at the superintendent's request to be here, I think speaks really highly of the relationships that our two organizations have. And you bring the city in, so that's 3 that we have as a community. And all of those things work towards bridging those gaps, right? Is the fact that we are in communication. We do have, Dr. Hammett spoke about it, but we've had keys to every single school in Fullerton since I was a sergeant in community services in 2016, right? So every sergeant car, right? And we've just built upon that, has keys to all of your schools, right? The fact that we can access your cameras in our police cars, our dispatch can see what's happening. We have a real-time operations center that's stood up by the county that we have sheriff's deputies that can look at them if our employee is not there. We have a really integrated, more than I think most police departments and school districts. And so when it comes to gaps, there's always going to be gaps, but it's our ability to address them and have conversations. One thing that he mentioned is if we have an incident, if you recall, we had a bomb threat about 6 months ago involving 4 schools in Fullerton. 1 belonged to the Fullerton School District. Going forward, if something like that happens, God forbid, we will have somebody from his cabinet or her cabinet at our unified command, at our command post, right? So they can get real-time information and share it with the school, and so you guys can inform people on your end as well. So there are gaps. There's always going to be gaps, but it's how we address those gaps and how we move forward with those. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Could you go into further detail? I'm sure we all have questions. I just want to specifically ask about that conversation about what training looks like when you talked about command staff, and because we know that if you're there, you know our people and you have the ability to make those calls. And I know Dr. Hammett also shared about the ability to make direct calls. So could you go into a little bit more detail what that training looks like for your officers, and as you move, especially as you move down the chain of command, if someone who's just on patrol and sees something, do they have the same capacity and training to be able to respond in these ways?
Yes.
Elevate it and
Yeah, that's a
need
good
it.
question. So we have multiple layers of supervision within our organization. And really the first level of supervision is a patrol supervisor, patrol sergeant. They have 3 stripes on their uniform, and they are the supervisors in patrol. They have the ability, I'm not going to go into operations about how many we have, but we have plenty that work during that time. They have the ability to advise our dispatch, to ask them to contact the schools. We also, in our CAD system, which is a computer-aided dispatch system, which shows up in every car and all of the consoles for our dispatchers. When there's a call for service around a school, there is now a circle around that school, which would indicate, like, hey, if there's something going on in this area, dispatcher, contact the school, or supervisor who sees it on a map, or police officer on the map. This should be your signal that, hey, you're by a school, contact the school. Right.
That's something new that's been added.
That is new.
Okay. Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, the schools have always been on the map, but that circle, that radius around it, is new, and that's to serve to notify our staff and
that's
know
the 500 feet from a.
Yeah, I think we did a quarter mile, but yes.
Okay, great to know. Thank you.
So first of all, thank you, Chief, and thank you, Dr. Chad, for the presentation. It's the seams that always need work, but I'm confident with the partnership that you all have established that we'll work through those seams, so thank you. You did mention the incident that happened a few months ago, one which was the bomb threat that happened to one of our sites at Fern Drive, and recently it sounds like St. Jude got hit up again. Is there anything you can share about the investigation or what the consequences were from all that?
Yeah, I'd love to be able to do that, but no, to protect the integrity of the investigation, I don't think this is the appropriate venue to do that.
So it's still ongoing?
Yeah, it's ongoing.
Okay.
These are very, very complicated investigations, unfortunately. I can tell you that it was not somebody that's in Fullerton. How about that?
I don't have a question. I just want to thank you for coming this evening and working with our staff on really trying to fine tune this plan. I know that it's going to be, there will always be tweaks, and each time you learn, but that the willingness and the relationship is key, right? So we hope that you feel that this is something that we really value, because we know that we need to work together to be safe for our children.
I appreciate that. And really the relationship that I'm aware of since I've grown up in this organization really started with Dr. Bob, and then Dr. Hammett really took the ball and ran with it. So I'm grateful to his leadership and the amount of effort he's put into building and nurturing the relationship that our organizations have. So thank you.
Thanks.
Same thing. I just wanted to thank you for coming. I know there's a lot happening in our city, and
no problem.
I wanted to thank your organization for keeping our children safe and obviously creating a plan of continuous improvement and taking in community input and feedback is really critical. And so I just want to thank you for being a steward of that and your department being a partner in this work.
Thank you.
I have a few more questions.
Sure.
When we were, Dr. Chad, you talked about the kind of a chain of command for us. I'm curious, would our administrators always be called if something's happening on or near their schools, even if it's a weekend or late night? Does that mean more phone calls late at night to principals?
It depends on what the incident is. Does it impact our buildings? Does it impact something happening on the campus, or is it really just something out maybe on the field involving one of our partners that's using our campus? So it really is incident by incident. We do like to give our principals weekends if possible. So generally it's something that our staff can handle or the senior administrative staff can handle. We won't involve our principal.
Okay, but every single time FSD leadership cabinet are called?
Yes.
Okay, so then you make the decision as to who then to
We do, and especially we know if it's going to impact what happens on a campus on Monday when administration returns, or if we need to make sure that our maintenance and operations staff is going out and doing some repairs or fixing a fence or maybe fixing a broken window, whatever may be happening. We want the administrator to know at that point.
Great. Okay, that makes sense because you're going to be the one who knows whether it's a soccer team that's running the field or an after-school program or FSD Fest. Not hockey tournament instead on a campus that Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay. When are parents notified? We hear on our end, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about the thought process and the order, because I know obviously safety is first, primary, and then communication comes next as soon as possible. So could you talk a little bit more about that decision-making process?
So the first thing that we need to do is make sure that students and staff are safe.
Yep.
So that's our first priority. So before we can communicate to parents, we need to make sure, if we need to do a lockdown, if we did a shelter in place, is that in place? Is everyone on the campus safe? And then we start reaching out to the parents and community at that point to provide them with updates and further direction. Parents have sometimes a natural inclination, which is something's happening at the school, I'm going to go to the campus. And if it's an incident where there is some danger or there's a lot of other activity going on, the best thing for them to do is not come to the campus. So we will communicate with parents. Again, I'll just use today's example. There was a fire. It was within the circle around Richmond School, and we contacted parents right away as soon as we knew students were inside, they were sheltered in place, no one was going to be impacted by smoke or by craziness involved trying to see what the fire trucks are doing, etc. Then we were able to reach out to parents and say, just an FYI, everybody's safe. There is the fire activity nearby, but know that everything's okay. And then we contacted parents again to say, all clear, everything's good. So staff and student safety first, and then communication. And we, keep parents communicated with along the way so they know what's happening with the incident. Are we maybe having to, and the idea back to the bomb threat we had at one of our schools, we notified parents that it was happening, we notified them we were on lockdown, and then we provided them with detailed directions on how to pick up your children. How were we going to do the reuniting of the parents with their kids? So communication with parents, it generally happens very quickly. We're also very fortunate to have a PIO who can help us with that communication piece. So we have different members of our team, some who are on-site incident command, others who are here at the district office coordinating and keeping staff and our departments coordinated, and then an expert as well at communication who can make sure that communication goes out timely not too quick, and with the appropriate amount of detail that's needed so that parents know that kids are safe and that we have the situation under control.
To our chief, what is the process that you decide or determine that information should be shared with the public? If we're sending it home to parents and guardians, do you also duplicate that communication in the community?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and it's kind of the chicken or the egg. And our PIO will coordinate with your PIO, but oftentimes I don't want to say we have competing interests because we all care about safety, but we have an investigation, right, that we're trying to either continue or start or finish, and you have to notify parents and make them aware. So when I say competing interests, it's not necessarily a negative thing, but we have to work through that, right? And so
hierarchy of priorities.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so our PIOs will do, I don't want to call it a negotiation, but a little bit of a negotiation where they say, hey, all right, we're going to put this out. We would like you to not put this out for now, but you can put this out. And they say, well, we'd like to put this out. We might want it, right? It really is kind of a negotiation. And it's really case by case because it depends on the situation. And do we have somebody outstanding? Do we want parents to stay away from the campus for now, right? Because the reunification part too can be really chaotic, and that has to be set, and spaces have to be determined and cordoned off prior to that happening, or it just creates chaos. And so I can't give you really like a straight answer to that because it's really different for every scenario. As long as, again, they're in communication, that's half the battle.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Chad, I appreciate that you brought up the issue of the ability of other groups to be able to opt into our alerts, because that is something I know we've discussed, whether it's the karate studio picking up kids and they need to know if there's a lockdown and no one's coming out at 3:25,
Right.
or the child care across the street, or some of the private schools even in our community that may not be that have the same partnership. So what will it look like for community groups who have a vested interest in the care of our kids to opt into these kind of communications?
So so to clarify, our communication system Blackboard was bought out by another company.
Yep.
So we'll be implementing this new communication system, and the way that it works preliminarily, again, we're just implementing, but it looks at this point, community partners will be part of the call list
Automatically.
and then during events, emergency events, or events where we know we need to notify folks because there's a crisis situation going on, then they will be included in those communication calls that go out. So that will be part of the communication protocol moving forward. Again, we're really looking at having that in place, starting with the 26, 27 year, as we're still implementing.
I just wonder if we could make that public so that if it's grandma who picks up on Fridays, or if it's, an after-school program, like not affiliated with FSD, but somebody who has those kids, that they could also choose to be a part of it, even if they're not an official part.
Yeah, we will be sending that out because the new system has more capacity.
Yeah.
Standpoint that currently our system was limited to parents, really, and folks on the emergency carts. This new system does allow us to involve more community partners and others who would opt in, so we can make sure that in an emergency situation that's made public. We also will do work with each of the schools to figure out, who is the karate studio that picks up, where does some kids go for childcare after school, to ensure that if those folks don't necessarily reach out to us, that we reach out to them to make sure they know of the ability to opt into our communication.
That's great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I just want to also thank you, especially for, I think, the commitment to letting our families know when there is any kind of law enforcement activity within that 500 feet or close to proximity to our schools. I know, as you mentioned, Senate Bill 98 requires us as a school district to let our community know if there's immigration enforcement happening on our campuses, but it obviously affects parents' ability to pick up, to be on campus safely, and just having any kind of law enforcement near the community brings a lot of concerns for the safety and well-being of everyone. So the commitment of our Fullerton police to let us know when they know, which we know you don't always know, but when you are aware of any kind of activity, whether that's sheriff, CHP, or federal immigration enforcement, that you'll partner with us to let us know. We appreciate that.
Yeah, so you touched on something which is true. We don't always know. We know when most agencies are here in Fullerton. We have protocols with all state, local, federal agencies with the exception of one, right? One is not letting us know. Immigration Customs Enforcement does not let us know when they're here now. That goes against Orange County protocols for the Orange County Chiefs of Police Association. So when other agencies are here, it is very clear that we know they're here. We will notify you. If Immigration Customs Enforcement is in Fullerton, normally we don't know, and we also are bound, and I've talked about this publicly quite a bit. I can't call the Fullerton School District and say ICE is doing enforcement across the street from the school. I can't do it. What I can do is say there's police activity, right? And that is something that we will do if we are aware, right? But I'm bound by certain laws that are federal laws about what I can and can't release to, right? And so I can't say, I want to be very clear, I'm not going to call, no one from the police department is going to call and say ICE is conducting enforcement in front of the school. I can't do it. It's against the law. I can say there's police activity. So I just want to be very clear. So there's no misunderstandings, right? Whether we agree with it or not as an agent.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it puts us in a really bad position, right? So
I do want to reinforce, though, that we do have protocols in place, too, where our administrators, if there is any sort of law enforcement, they immediately go out and get eyes on what's happening.
Yeah.
So our administrators do follow up, and we follow our protocols, which is to inform our community.
Mm-hmm.
If we have verified any sort of immigration type activity or enforcement verified near our campuses.
Mm-hmm. And we appreciate that sometimes your ability to navigate and tell us who is active in our community helps us both prevent identification of the wrong folks, like to know what's happening, and then to also be able to confirm when activities are happening that we need to be aware of it and alert our families.
totally understandable.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you. Any further questions? Or we appreciate you and your efforts to keep our community safe. Are jumping back in our agenda then to wrap up just a few more things. We are going to go back to our discussion items, which we're starting with number B, which is the discussion of an ad hoc committee for superintendent transition planning and initial performance objectives. I had originally talked with Dr. Chad about proposing this as a way to develop this transition plan for us as a board as we welcome and provide guidance for our new superintendent. We want to ensure that she is ready to start leading on July 1st, which means we need to develop an onboarding process for her to learn and connect with our key stakeholders and the broader community. And we want to also be clear about our objectives and expectations for her performance. So our contract with this superintendent, which we just voted on tonight, says that we will, within 3 months of employment, provide objectives for her performance. So this is a way of kind of jump-starting that work. So my hope is that an ad hoc working committee will draft both the transition plan that we could maybe discuss during our May 19 board meeting in closed session that will allow her to come in ready to work on July 1st. And then they will be the ones that will begin drafting a starting place for the conversation on objectives and goals for Dr. Jansen when we meet with her on July 27th at our board meeting at that point. So I need a motion to establish this ad hoc working committee, and then I will then take nominations once it's been established.
I'll make a motion to establish the ad hoc committee for the superintendent transition planning.
Okay, great. Second? I'll second it.
Second.
Okay, then any discussion or additional comments?
I would just like to make sure that the entire board is okay with an ad hoc committee doing this work as opposed to the entire board doing this work. I think that the suggestion is to do the ad hoc so that it cuts down in some time and it comes through the process. I always see value in all of us meeting and talking about this as well. But whatever this group decides, I would like to be part of that if I could.
Yeah, so I think maybe we benefit from some discussion on why an ad hoc and what that gives us versus an alternative to the ad hoc. So I think if I understand the explanation correctly, it's that we would discuss the outputs from the ad hoc as a starting point to discuss it in closed session. So this is giving us a head start. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my suggestion. That's my, I think, the value of having an ad hoc, I would say, is just a starting place to create a framework, and then would absolutely be discussed in closed session, or we could bring it to the board agendized. But because it's a HR decision and it's about the performance of our superintendent, we are able to do that in a closed session. So we could do that before our May meeting as well as our July meetings, is have these conversations.
And can we discuss some of the, I mean, before we vote on membership of the ad hoc committee, can we talk about some of the guidance we provided the ad hoc committee, for example, to reach out to our FETA, CSEA folks for their input? Like, we can do that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I also just want to be clear that this ad hoc committee is not setting the evaluation for the superintendent, as that is the whole board's job, is to set the goals, direction, and evaluate the superintendent. And these type of committees are really formed to essentially do a lot of information gathering and almost a passing of the baton of, as a board, context gathering of what is happening and doing an analysis in terms of, what's our org chart look like? Who are the key stakeholders in the school district? Who are the principals? What are all of these things that a superintendent would need to know to transition into their role and make those recommendations to the board around their, around that superintendent's onboarding plan. And
Yeah, I think that there's some work to be done to even research, what beginning a framework of what objectives might look like, and as well as that list of folks for onboarding.
Well, and I would add that a lot of those items are probably already in our school district, because we do onboard many other people. So I think it's just gathering that. And I do believe that, we've got our wonderful admin assistant over here who probably is already starting a lot of that process. And so I would hope that we would include her in this,
absolutely,
in this opportunity to sit down and say, this is what we're thinking and this is how we want to go.
So when we talk about this ad hoc committee, how many people are we?
It should be 2, so it's a minority of the board.
And I believe we spoke about this at the last meeting, correct?
Closed session.
No, I think this is a little different. I think our last
was about bylaws.
About
We did
so we have like 2 other things that we as a board have decided we would like to do. What we would like to revise our board policies, which is the 9,000 series, right? So we have to go through all those, and that's just kind of process, right? We also, somewhere in our to-do list is, as a board, talk about our protocols. That was something that I think we were still doing, and I do see some of this work is also as a board. There are 5 of us, and bringing on a new superintendent, we need to make sure that we are in sync ourselves, so that we are not all coming up with our own priorities on what we want this individual to do. And so it's setting up the stage so that bringing on a new person into a successful environment where, as a board, we are united on how we're dealing with this person. Because again, 5 of us kind of talking about what we want is very confusing to a new person. And so we, as a board, all 5 of us, need to be in sync on how we're going to do this. And I think this ad hoc, or as a 5, however we do it, this is something we truly need to spend time on before somebody starts with us, is my feeling.
Yeah, I'm pretty skeptical of ad hocs and working groups for things like this, but it seems like the direction of the board is to approve it. There's a motion and a second. I'm happy to vote along with it, but if we're going to have one, I would make them a follow-on. My intent is to make a follow-on motion that Bev be on the ad hoc committee.
Okay. Yeah, I think that my hope for this would be that the 2 people are beginning the conversation, even if it's to say we need to decide on our goals, and we facilitating a conversation in our closed session around those goals and asking all 5. So it's not that they're coming in saying, these are the 5 things we're going to put on her objectives, and do you all like them, rubber stamp it, but really beginning that conversation of creating a framework to have that conversation and facilitate.
Process of.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm okay with an ad hoc committee, and I too would like to have Bev on it, only because she's one with experience bringing in a new superintendent, and if she's interested in being a part of it, I would like to start the nomination and nominate Bev
Okay, so right.
as part of the committee.
Yes.
No?
We've got a second and a motion for the ad hoc committee formation, and then I will do nominations right after that, okay? So can we vote yes? Let me ask, all those in favor of forming an ad hoc committee, you can say aye now, okay?
Aye.
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 Great, that passes. So then let's take nominations, and we can take up to 2 nominations. We could have more, but then we'd have to vote on those. So I've heard a motion for Bev Berryman to be on our ad hoc committee. I would like to nominate Miguel Alvarez to join the committee as well. I think he has a lot of experience in this work professionally, so I would be very happy to have those 2.
I'm happy to amend my motion as a friendly amendment, make it a slate.
Okay.
Bev Berryman and Miguel Alvarez to serve on the ad hoc if they're both willing to accept that.
What does he say?
I said I accept. I was going to say we accept, but I won't speak on behalf of you.
Okay. Then we have a vote for the slate, for the nomination of the slate of Trustee Berryman and Trustee Alvarez. All those in favor of selecting these 2 to join our ad hoc committee, say aye.
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 Aye. Great. Okay, we have that committee, and we will, whatever you guys need from us, but we'll look forward to at least the beginning of the conversation to be set up well when we are able to meet on the May 19th meeting, and then the July, I think it's 27, we're moving that to a Monday. Our board meetings on those coming up. And if you, as your ad hoc committee, decide that we need more time, we can look to add an additional meeting in there.
Yeah.
We have our board meeting on May 19th, so the suggestion is to have it in closed session because it is a personnel issue. We can have the onboarding conversation on May 19th to prepare for a July 1st start.
And we're
then
going to start this meeting very early because we do have employee recognition that
we do. We can discuss. We could do it either after the entire board meeting, or there is a little bit of a gap in between we could possibly take for closed session.
After the
It depends on if we have other things going on that night, though.
Good pass.
Okay, we'll probably have other items.
Talk with me.
Okay.
It has to be beforehand.
Has to be beforehand. Okay.
Rains will start.
Well, then maybe we can hear an update and then plan for an additional meeting in the meantime before July 1st then. Okay. Maybe by then you can scope a little bit of what you.
Yeah, I think we can come up with something, and it may not be very long, but it may be a report out on progress and what we're thinking.
Okay, and then we can decide how we can contribute to that process going
I
forward.
think our June meetings, there's a couple, I'm gone.
There are 2 June meetings. So. Yep, absolutely. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, the next item is to approve resolution number 2526-12 for the governing board of Fullerton School District terminating services of classified management employees for the lack of work and or lack of funds. We discussed this in our last board meeting, but I don't know if there's anything we need to add to it at this point. No. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. A second?
Second.
Okay. So I'll.
Sadly, second.
Yeah. Yeah. So all those in favor of the motion to approve resolution 2526-12, vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Then our last agenda item, then, well, before we get to the kind of concluding things, is to look at our consent agenda. So we have many items on this. Are there any pulled or discussed before voting?
I don't want to pull any, but I do have some comments on a few of them.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Item A is just for the public to make sure that they know that we're changing our Tuesday meeting to a Monday meeting in July. So July 27th would be our new meeting for July as opposed to Tuesday, the 28th. And that would be something big because we normally don't meet on Mondays. So you get to start your, part of you guys aren't even going to be here, so forget it. You're like, I don't care, Monday, Tuesday.
Why?
Whatever. I was very happy that item D, our Williams litigation settlement, that there were no complaints. So thank you all for making sure we have books and our facilities are good. That's one thing that as a board we have that responsibility of. I wanted to comment on accepting our gifts. We had a lot of PTAs and foundations that really truly believe in educating our students and helping enhance our programs by contributing dollars. I was going to, item P was our Power School demographic enrollment analytics. We're updating that, or we're reviewing that. And I would just wanted to throw out a little thing for the board because I think that those are really interesting and it might be time for us to, or you guys to share that with us. So item P is just our demographics, and I think that's Rob. But if we could see that, I think that those are very interesting because it has a detailed report on the demographics and how they're changing and where.
Help us know our kids.
Yeah. Lots of work in this consent agenda, you guys. So that was that. A lot of bond projects, a lot of increase in costs with special education and such. So watching those numbers go up. And thank you guys for all that. I was happy to see that all of our junior highs are attending National Speech and Debate competitions this year. So that's from all of our junior high schools. I wanted to bring up the hold on. I'm going to make sure that we're okay. Nava Consulting, where we are. The agreement is to be renewed this time, and that's out here. And in looking at it, it's changing some of how we deal with this work that Danielle does. And part of it is developing employee satisfaction and climate check surveys. So it's a lot of outreach to our employees and our staff. So it's taking a different approach as opposed to just curriculum based. What I thought would be great, because it kind of falls in line with this, is that at this same time that we don't have a structured exit survey program at all with our staff as they leave. And I thought maybe as she's going through this process that we could ask her if maybe an exit survey, that she can add that in there to maybe come up with a process. Even sometimes having a third person actually do the exit survey sometimes is a little bit more information than having somebody who's already here. So I thought about maybe bringing that to the attention of the board or to Dr. Brown, because that's where the scope of her work.
But would that be an HR responsibility?
I think it could. I mean, HR doesn't. We don't do a structured exit survey right now, correct?
We find out why folks are leaving and what is their reason for leaving the district. But we could definitely work with her and get some samples of what other districts do in response to exit surveys to get more information from folks.
Right. I mean, she's identifying climate, and so I think that just kind of goes along with that. I mean, so
Great.
I was just thinking maybe we can add something like that into it now, and it's a pay per task. So. I'm sorry, you guys. I have a lot on here that I just wrote myself. I wrote myself some notes. West Ed, being involved in data research, was soon as we're talking about bringing that math curriculum in, it's a great time because we always talk about data and we talk about you bringing in new curriculum. Is it really working? What's working about it? What's great? And we always say, well, we don't have the data. This is an opportunity for our junior high staff to voluntarily say, hey, we're going to help with this because we really truly believe in education and we want to be able to provide some data and be able to be helpful on that one. And I did hear it was volunteer, so that was good. The the last thing I was going to add in here, JJ is the Mudambi language learning. So it's our dual language contract where we're doing a couple of parent meetings, and then we've got them doing some staff meetings. You know, I'm mixed about this because I know that this board, and I'm not going to pull it. But our board has said, you know what, we really do believe in dual immersion, and we've always, you know, we've believed in it a long time, and I've been a proponent of that. I look at this, and I am looking at a 1 year, 2 year, right? So if we are going through this process on educating our parents and educating our staff and really getting out information on what the advantages of and how it works, I think those are all great things. But I want to caution our board on that there's a lot going on next year, you know, with many teachers retiring, with a new direction, or maybe not a new direction, but a new superintendent, that I would love to see us do things really well instead of just adding. So I want to make sure that we're not rushing through this and that we're really taking some time, even though it's something that we do want. But I'm okay with approving the contract, but I'm just throwing out the fact that it is a 2 year process, right, as opposed to a 1 year. And that makes me feel a little bit better, but I just don't want to rush through things. I just want to make sure that we're not adding too much to what we have going on already in a really sensitive year next year with all the change.
And our board took an action earlier this year to say that we were not going to move ahead with 26, 27 as a year to pursue additional DLA sites.
Right.
Right? So this is,
But we're doing that training now.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I want to make sure.
Maybe we could have a follow-up to find out more what the expectation is to do with this data, if we're looking at 27, 28, or even further, because it would take board action in order to begin the process of even planning for 27, 28, right?
So we'll provide you with an update in the communique so the board can have that information in the communique, and then decide from there when will we have the data, what will this training look like, and when is the estimated completion date. So then you'll have an idea as a board as to what you may want to do with that.
But I know this group does really good work. And so even if they don't do that work, they work with our dual immersion program now, right? I mean, so they can continue to do work.
And they are going to be doing 2 parent workshops and then 2 administrator staff workshops. So I feel like since this is a 2-year program, I don't feel like this is rushing, because we do want to make sure that our parents are not educated, but aware of the process. And it's important that we talk to parents who may have a misconception of the DLA program is. And so I personally don't see it as rushing, but I would love to get that information, Dr. Hammett.
And are the two, just to clarify, the two presentations for staff, are they to existing DLA school staff or broader for those who may in the future be considered for a site location?
One was set up for existing, and then one would be for some of the sites that maybe in the future we're looking at adding. Yeah.
It's those 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, just, clarity, because it would take board action in order to bring that as a future agenda item if we were to revisit that plan. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Bev.
Probably said everything for everybody else too.
Anything else from our consent agenda?
I just have a comment on, we do have a lot of bond projects that are going through. Wonderful. We did back in August, the board passed the community workforce agreement. So we do have one project that is qualifying under the scope of that community workforce agreement for 1.6 million. And those 2 projects that are slated. One of the comments that I did want to have around our bond project in general is how we market the work that we're doing to the broader community. While we do a great job internally speaking about our bond initiative and people would have to go through a board report and kind of find this information. One of the asks that I have is looking at our Citizens Oversight Committee page on our website to really feature and almost display what these funds have gotten the community. Because a picture speaks 1,000 words. We can talk about, James's post on social media brought up some really good points for some of my parents at Orangethorpe about, well, why didn't we get sunshades at our school site? We only got this, right? So there's a fear of missing out, right? One school site gets this versus another, and almost understanding the methodology of how schools get these funds and what they're doing around modernization, what those modernization projects are, how does it impact the community, and what input do they have in this process. All of that is very vague, and so I'd like to see how we can institutionalize that through our social media channel. I know we did have the 3 and 3 where you talked about Nicholas, so that was great. But more of that, because it's a great feeling to see new blacktops, new arcs going up, playgrounds, and so those are some of the comments that I have, just visiting the different school sites and really hearing parents about why aren't we getting this here, but we're getting it at that one. It's like, no, this is where we got marquees here, we got playgrounds here, and we have to do that work. And we don't have those talking points at the ready unless we ask for them. And so that's kind of my ask for us to consider.
Yeah. I'm sure Dr. Rob can keep us updated on all the plans. I mean, I know those of us who were here for that process, there was a lot of consideration of both what needed to be fixed, what was glamorous to fix, what was not so glamorous, right? And so we're trying to make sure that there's equity and fairness for every school to get what they need, as well as some of the things that they want, but limited funds to do that. So it is helpful for us to be able to explain that to the community. So we can, I'm sure, have a follow-up from Dr. Rob on that process. Okay, then if there's no other comments or discussion, we will go ahead and approve
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
our consent agenda. And second, thank you. Okay, so those who are in favor of adopting the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. Then our last item would be any future requests for future items. We've discussed some follow-up conversations and reports, but anything to be added to the agenda for the future?
I have something, and it could also be a communique.
Okay.
I think there has been some confusion on the articulation between the high school and the elementary school. It always comes up that high school district doesn't think the elementary school's articulating and vice versa, and we're not a unified district, and it's really hard sometimes. So what I would love to hear is what articulation is happening now. How often are our departments meeting with their departments at the high school level? And what does that communication look like? What does it look like when we're looking at an initiative and bringing the high school group in as well? So I would love to hear that and somehow make it so that the high school group also knows this. And I don't know if that's, bringing us together to be able to share that so that both groups hear it. But in looking at some of, the survey that we did, there was a high school group that made some mention that they did not feel that our articulation was particularly good. And I think this is something that we have been working on for a very long time. When I first started this board, this is kind of what the thing was, is that, it should be invisible to our parents that we're not united or unified. And so I just want to make sure that we're doing that, and I know we're doing it, but we probably could do better always, or we just don't know what we're doing, and we need to communicate that so that everyone's on board and knows what we're doing. So I would like something to that effect.
Excited when you talk about it, because this is one of the things that I just geek out of around the P20 continuum. So I'll talk forever about it, and I won't. Good. And I think that the ask or the agenda item, and maybe this is something that has to happen with Dr. Jansen, is how do we look at everything through a pathway lens? So for example, if we have students at Nicholas that are doing the construction project, how are they articulating to Buena Park CTE program, and then how does that articulate to Fullerton College's pre-apprenticeship program, and bringing all of those resources, because then at that point we would be so competitive to apply for funding at the state level for workforce development, our K-16 SWP initiatives, and be able to bring dollars and resources here that don't come out of our general fund. So I think articulation and the P20 collaborative, which also would include a data sharing agreement, I find that the high school sites not wanting to participate in some of our activities is one of those things where it's a recruitment opportunity for them to share about their high schools, and almost having this interesting feeder pattern where they will not do field trips to bring people there if it's not part of that feeder school. And that's really, in an open enrollment district, I find that kind of an interesting, thing.
I'm hearing of real interest. I would agree. I think we definitely have a second for this conversation. I'm wondering about the structure. Would it make sense? Maybe it's something Dr. Brown could get back to us after some time to think about it.
So yeah, what I think, and maybe we could do this in multi-steps.
Yep.
What I'm hearing is, first of all, kind of give a communique item of what is the current situation? What does it currently look like? And so that we have a good definition of what is it that's currently happening, and then to start the work around, okay, so based on what's currently happening, what could be some next steps? And I think maybe, like you said, involving the high school and having discussions about what does that look like? How do we build better pathways? Those sort of things. But I think step one is kind of the,
What do we do?
what do we currently
Stock
do?
of where
That
we're
would
at.
be like, right, stock of where we're at, and then we could build from there.
Do we have an MOU across the 3 agencies?
No, we do not have an MOU across the 3 agencies.
I would maybe give the direction. I think it'd be good to include Fullerton Joint Union High School even in that early stage of where we currently at, because there's always, like you said, like gaps between what they think they're doing, what we think we're doing, and maybe bring for that beginning conversation is how are we articulating and creating pathways for students, and then it'd be probably informative for us to hear what they think they're doing and what we think we're doing. And then that can be the first presentation. And then it's really hopefully opens up opportunities for us to say, how can we do better, right? And then that's the direction we're asking for our staff to take is, how do we do better?
Are you asking for a presentation or just information?
It looks like it's a needs assessment, right? So we're doing a community needs assessment based on our articulation and pathways as it relates to the P20 continuum. And then we're thinking through, sorry, this is my research, so
No.
Understanding how that partnership, both from data and feeder school enrollment patterns, where we're at there, right? So doing that needs assessment first, and then thinking through inviting in around the strategy component of what we need to do around systems alignment work. And
I would suggest with what Dr. Tad was saying is let's start with where we're at, right? We'll start where we're at, and then we could say, okay, from this we can get better, and we can start to do other things. Because that's going to be a process. That's not going to happen.
And it won't just be us.
So,
it has to be.
Correct. So let's find out what we're doing first, and then go from there. That would be my suggestion.
So what we will work on is in the next few weeks to get the board a communique of where are we with that information, also including the high school as far as where they think we are versus what we're experiencing. And so we have that as a beginning point. And then I think from there, then we can have further discussions around what's a needs assessment? What does that look like? What would that look like to develop that, not just for us, but for the high school district and the community college, because it has to be that continuum. Because what we have found is without partners at the high school and the community college, funding and even program alignment is very hard to develop for us. So.
Like we weren't eligible to get a certain funding, right? But
Correct.
we did the fiscal.
And we probably should
Correct.
have this conversation.
Yeah.
Are we going to...
So what we can do, sounds like staff, this is staff direction for the communique and assessment, right? And then shall we vote to have a future agenda item to discuss the information as well as?
I don't think we can vote because it's not agendized. So we have
to put it as
up to say, put it on the agenda.
Yes, to say, okay, to put it on the agenda. Yes.
or start with the communique and then go from there. But it sounds like the communique is just a little bit of information, and that the board as a group would like more.
Yes. Yes.
So both. We want both. We want to. Sounds like communique to start with.
Agendize understanding our P20 partnership initiative in Fullerton.
Okay.
And may I get a timeline on what the board is expecting? Is because I think that's going to be a key thing. You have a lot that's going to be happening over the next 3 to 4 months, and just in light of the new superintendent's transition, I want to make sure that she's able to even learn where the 20 schools are.
Yeah.
I think that learning about what the articulation is now,
yeah,
is where we start.
In a communique, and then from there,
and then from there,
determine a timeline. Yeah.
I think it's got to be staff direction as far as the timeline.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we have, just to make sure, because we are supposed to vote, I think, to put things on the future agenda items. So we've had a motion.
Thumbs up.
Second, thumbs up. Yes. Vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay. Then we vote to have it as a future agenda item at the discretion of staff of when that will be. Okay. Thank you. So at this point, I believe we are done. So we will adjourn this regular board meeting at 9:16. And our next board meeting is Tuesday, May